So, whenever you think of hobbies, you would think of something like carpentry, or you would think of crocheting. Gaming is a hobby nowadays. But what if I told you that there was a group of people that actually dress up in armor, take a stick, shield, and we actually go to town and enact real combat in each other? It's not choreographed. We literally try to hit each other as hard as we possibly can. That's what's called medieval reenactment, and that's something I used to do for a long time. We call it Society of Creative Anachronisms. And I want to tell you about the time that I went to Gulf Wars, which is a gathering of like 3,000 people. So, if you don't know what anachronism is, an anachronism is a thing belonging to or appropriate to a period or other which it exists. So, when you think of an anachronism, think of something like you see a photo with Abraham Lincoln and he has a boombox, holding up a boombox in his portrait, or Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart holding an electric guitar, something of that nature. And that's what is an actual anachronism. And the way we use it is we actually dedicate ourselves to a time period, and we reenact that time period in a setting where we have like the correct clothing, the correct armor. We kind of have the same name. Like I had a 15th century persona that was called Matthias ap Edward, and I was Welsh, and I had armor that looked like him and everything. And it was actually really well done. So a lot of us had different time periods. There was Egyptian time periods. There was Jewish time periods. There was just pretty much any time period you think of. Anything you could think of in the medieval times, somebody is doing it in the SCA, which is really cool. So in Gulf Wars is in Mississippi, and in Mississippi there were about 3,000 to 4,000 of us at a time, and there was not just like people battling. There was people who had commerce. There was classes to learn more about the history, and we would on the 1 week we racked huge battles. Like there were like 800, 900 fighters on the field. And one of the first fights was a straight up town battle, where one team, all dressed up, would go on the other side and they would try to attack our fort. And we actually had built a fort onto the actual property itself, and the owners allowed us to keep it there, and then they would come in and try it. It was a huge fort. Walls were about like 8 feet tall. Really fun. I enjoyed the heck out of it. So one of my favorite moments in battle was I had actually gotten trapped behind enemy lines, and I was kneeling on the ground because I had gotten hurt, and I was actually surrounded by people, and nobody knew I was there. So I locked eyes with someone who also was on the enemy team, and I was on the ground. And then when combat called again, he swung at my head, and I lifted my shield, and then I caught his sword, and I drilled my sword down into the ground and really forced him into the ground and pushed him into it. These battles get really, really intense really fast, and we try to make it so that way none of us get hurt. It happens, but we generally tend to have procedures and ways that we fight that actually don't hurt people, because we all want to get up in the morning. So, in conclusion, no matter what you think of your hobbies as weird or anything else like that, just know that nothing is really weird. And don't ever think that you waste your time on these hobbies, because honestly, if you enjoyed it, then wasted time, it's not wasted. It's definitely time well spent. Thank you.